Good evening, folks. Welcome to the show. Tonight's December 4th, 2018. And since my internet provider has still not fixed my internet, I'm going to pre record this and make it a short one so it doesn't take very long to upload. And tonight I've got a short encounter by Nathan. When he was 17, he encountered a white Sasquatch in Morgan County, Alabama.
Because when I was 17, I had an encounter that it started one night with two bluff charges from a creature that I never saw. And then the next day, in the same place, a creature in broad daylight followed me for the better part of 2 hours.
So let me ask you
And
something.
about,
Prior to this, did you believe in Bigfoot at all?
yes, I did. Um, for some reason, I tell you why I believe in Bigfoot. Why I believed in Bigfoot before then. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather was the most honest man that you'd ever know. And do you remember when Andre the Giant? I know you do because we're about the same age, I think. When Andre the Giant was played Bigfoot on the $6 Million Man,
Yeah.
the first scene of the first show that he was on, there was a girl working on the radio, and Andre the Giant's shadow came up behind her, the Bigfoot. And I was sitting down in front of the TV because back then, a household mostly had one TV. And I jumped from in front of the TV to my grandfather's lap. And he patted me on the back. He said, "Son, don't worry. We don't have those around here." Well, I was older when I put it together, but he never once told me they did not exist. But my grandfather, prior to World War II, was in the Conservation Corps in Washington and Oregon, building roads in the national parks. And the way he worded that, most fathers would have said, "Oh, there ain't no such thing as a Bigfoot." He didn't say that. He said, "Don't worry, son, we don't have those around here." Well, and years later, find out we do have those around here. But I have been, ever since 1986, I have been a Bigfoot nut. Uh, because up till then, I didn't think we had them around here. We've had the old folks used to talk about the white thing around here all my childhood, but you know, you don't quite know and the one I saw was white. It was it could have been gray, but I think it was white and just dirty.
Really?
Um, the one the night before, what it was, my dad, my real dad, was a coon hunter, and I didn't care squat about coon hunting, but I'd do anything in the world to be around my dad. So I took up coon hunting, and I went one night with a dog that he had and one that I had and two friends, and we went down this place here close to the house, and we the dogs treed. We started to the dogs, and something run them off the tree. So I started calling the dogs. The dogs didn't come, but whatever this was that charged us did. And after this, I started reading up on great apes and whatnot, and find out that this behavior is commonplace with apes. But what it did, it made a big show of, just like the guy was talking about on your show the other night I listened to, the guy from Alaska that lost his cell phone and went back to find his cell phone, and
Yeah.
whatever it was charged him, but didn't come out of the woods to where he could see it.
Right.
Exact same situation. Uh, and then the next day, I went back after the dogs, and I found Dad's dog, which he was the one I was worried about because he was pretty expensive. And when I reached down, snapped the leash on him, I stood up, and it was standing right in the middle of the logging road, back the way I needed to go. So
There was a Bigfoot
it just,
standing there?
yeah, it was just standing there right in the middle of the road at about 75 yards.
Huh.
Standing straight up, was not hiding, right in the middle of the road.
Staring at you?
bold as you think. And so I stood there and looked at him for, it seemed like forever. And the strangest thing, and it sort of gave me an easy feeling, the fact that he was not making any kind of aggressive, uh, none of his actions was aggressive. And it didn't seem to be bothering the dog that he was there. Now, this is an experienced hound that has hunted these same woods for years. There's no doubt in my mind he had seen it before.
Yeah, it's really unusual. Usually they cower. That's at least the reports I've heard. They usually cower and hide.
This dog, it didn't matter to this dog that it was there at all. So I walked back. There's an old guy that used to live in a cabin up that logging road from where, I mean, no electricity, basically just old hermit. But he lived in this cabin. I went to his house. I've known him all my life. He's dead now, but what he told me, he said, I don't know what that is, but he said it comes around here all the time at night, gets stuff off my porch, and sometimes it'll bring stuff and put it back on my porch. But he said that one you don't have to worry about. He said there are some here that you do have to worry about. So there was more than one. And then.
And how old were you when this one was in the road again?
I was 17. I was 17. But I've never been the nervous type. I don't have it in me to things that scare other people intrigue me. It's my wife says I'm crazy, but I'm not sure about that. It served me well in the past with situations that most people would lose their cool. I usually excel in a situation like so. The first thought in my mind when I seen him, the thought in my mind was, well, there you are. I mean, that's really the first thing I thought.
Can you describe it?
But yeah, fact of the matter, I'll rather than describe it, I drew a picture of it not long after it happened, and I've kept the picture all these years, and I took a picture of it, of the picture, and sent it to Will. Me and Will Jevnin's pretty close, and I sent it to Wes. I about decided Wes is a jerk, but.
Did you send me one? I don't think you sent one to me, did you?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you when we get off the phone.
Sure.
It was better than 7 foot. I'm not going to say at that distance it was 8 footer or a 9 footer, but it was better than 7 foot because it was standing by a limb that I saw not many days later. That standing flat footed, and I'm 6'2". I could barely touch the limb, and it was somewhere in the neighborhood of the top of its head. And it was basically like most people describe them: big shoulders, long arms. The face, now when I sent you this picture, I ad-libbed on the face a little bit because the hair was gray and the skin was gray, so there wasn't a lot of contrast on the face. It was hard to distinguish details on the face at that distance. But it was a hooded nose, but it was a wide nose. It seemed to be a long way from the bottom of its nose to the top of its upper lip. It was like, I don't know, maybe 2.5 inches, maybe. Distance, it was hard to tell at that distance because all I could tell about its mouth was a wide line beneath its nose.
It's more like 3 fingers instead of 1 or 2.
Yeah, something like that. But we fast forward several years, and I looked into everything. I don't guess there's ever been a Bigfoot documentary that I hadn't seen 10 times. I was watching that show with y'all were talking about the Russian ski team. And I don't know if you got the email I sent you about it. You had asked the guy that you were talking to whether there was whether Bigfoot was ever mentioned in the conversation on that. There was a documentary done on, I want to say Discovery, but it could have been the Travel Channel. It was a reputable network. They did a documentary on that, and there was supposedly a picture of a Bigfoot standing in the edge of the wood line, taken by one of the people that were killed. I saw that on one of the networks, like Discovery or Travel Channel or something like that. But with that said, about the same time, they done one of those docudramas on Megalodon and on mermaids about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you can take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that photo, and the official description is that it was just a random picture that they took that didn't come out right. You know, it's probably one of them or something. They don't really know what it was, but yeah.
Well, they showed the picture, and it was a Bigfoot. If the picture was real, if the picture that they showed was real, and you know how that goes, but if the picture they showed was real, it was a Bigfoot. No doubt in my mind. There was absolutely no mistaking that if the Bigfoot was real, if the picture was real, that's what it was. Because it was the last thing they showed at the end of that documentary, and you know it was creepy. But let's go ahead and fast forward to probably 6 years ago, and I've always thought there's a place right here by my house called Newsom Sinks, and what it is, it's a valley that it ain't nothing but sinkholes. There's caves, there's underground rivers, there's caves with tunnels that goes for miles. If you you can find it online because my wife has. I can't tell you where, but the Morgan County, Alabama cave system, you can see it online. It's miles of caves, and I've always thought people don't go there because there's all kind of old folks legends and whatnot, and I sort of attribute those legends to these creatures.
In Morgan County, is that south on 231? Or
That's south on 231.
Okay.
But you can look that up, and it'll show you all the cave systems and whatnot. And there's a lot of underground rivers, permanent water source, plentiful game. They can live there in probably a 500 square mile, roughly, area without crossing any major roads. It would be real easy for them to stay there. But a few years, about how long ago, hon, was it when you seen the one across the road propped up against the barn? 4 years? 4 years ago, across the road from my house here, my wife was down in the front yard piddling around one night and saw one standing over. They were clearing out around this old barn that belonged to my uncle years ago. They were clearing out around it, and there was one standing behind it watching her over here in my yard. And then a couple of days later, she came in, I was still up, and she said, there's red eyes over the old barn. So we went over there, and I walked toward the red eyes till I couldn't see them no more. It either moved position or closed. I saw the eyes, but I walked toward it until I couldn't figure, I couldn't see the eyes no more, so we quit going that way. I didn't run scared away from there. You did, but you left me over there. And then I start finding, now, if you go across the road from my house, it's probably 400 yards to where this valley that I'm talking about comes up in a V, and a waterfall goes off of it. And there is my daughter and her husband lives over there, and from the back of their house, it's about 400 yards to the rim of this valley. Well, there is tree structures, tree breaks, X's, the whole thing. I hadn't seen any teepees. But and I sort of feel like it's probably the barrier between where they live and where people live. I've been off in this valley.
Are you still there?